All right, it is winter, and that means that first snow is right around the corner. And for me, I open a very specific bottle each and every year. It's a tradition, and it's deeply nostalgic for me, something I really look forward to. And that bottle is Midwinter's Night Dram. But for those of you that have been following along, you kind of know the deal already. Ever since Act 9, it's gotten a little less interesting and a little more expensive. So I find myself being a little less interested and a little less excited to crack that bottle and pour it when that first snow hits. But this year, that might change completely because the team at Found North just sent me an early bottle of their upcoming release, Snow Day, First Flurry. And now let me be clear, this isn't Found North trying to replace Midwinter Night Dram. It's not a knockoff. It's not even in the same lane. This is Found North doing what they do best. They went on a whiskey adventure and tried to replicate that feeling that captures the moment of the first snow. And I am telling you, you're going to want to stick around because this bottle may be the best and most interesting expression I have tasted from Found North yet. All right, so let me show you what's in the glass, why it works, and why you might want to pay attention when this drops. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm probably way out on North Pole on this one, but for me, even at my age, that first snow is magical. I get to slow down and light the fire and sit by the window and watch my kids play as the first snowflakes fall. And it's just a deeply nostalgic and reflective moment for me. And although it maybe seem over the top, I love to couple it with the perfect whiskey to let me sit down and enjoy the moment and stop thinking about tomorrow or yesterday or all the problems we have swirling around. It just kind of anchors me to the moment. And that pour for me really needs to balance spice and fruit, all of those flavor profiles and smells that you really think about when you think about the holidays and wintertime. So it's a deeply important moment for me, as weird as it is to say. And when I talked to the team at Found North, I found something very interesting. Something that stood out as kind of a departure from the norm for them. Generally, their philosophy is very structured and very process oriented. They have batches, they have numbers, they have a system. And I love that about Found North. It creates consistency while being unique each and every release. And it makes Found North who they are. And I know that they'll continue to do that because it's an expectation that they've created for all of us that they're going to continue to put out these remarkable series of batches. But this time was different. They had a vision, and that was it. So they had the vision and they had the availability of some barrels to make that vision a reality. And the team went to work. All right, so I'm going to quote Nick and Zach from Found North here, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. But they basically said with this release, hey, we have a ton of incredible barrels. Let's stop overthinking it, and let's just make something that tastes like winter to us. So no strict adherence to a production process, no staying in a particular lane, just pure blending instinct. And honestly, this gets me excited because when blenders like Nick and Zach forget the formula and just start chasing a vision, I believe that's where the magic really happens. So let's get into what they actually made. So Snow Day is built around a 2015 vintage rye. It makes up about 45% of the blend. And I'm going to go ahead, because it's going to be a lot once we get into this, list all of the blend right here so everyone can see. And being a 2015 vintage rye, as many of you know, ryes can go bad pretty quickly, whether it's getting past the vegetal state or preventing it from going bitter or tannic or harsh. And they did a fantastic job of managing and threading that needle. And although the team loved it, they loved that 2015 vintage rye as the backbone of this whiskey, they knew it needed more. And that's when they started to go on their adventure. They wanted to soften the edges, bring in a little fruit, and add a little depth. Think about adding honey to a mulled wine. You're not covering up, you're complementing it. So they built a blend around it, adding some 15-year and 22-year corn and rye, actually, just to give it some body and some richness. And then they took all of that and they finished it in port and new American oak barrels. They worked with ruby port barrels, white port barrels, rosé port barrels. They even included some European and French oak barrels as well. They started with somewhere around 37 barrels and ended up using 29 of those barrels. And get this, by the time they were done, they used 20 different components of whiskey. They used 12 different cask types, basically aging from 10 to 26 years. So every component has a job. The port brings the fruit and balances the spice. You have that oak to extend the finish. They even brought in some of their other high altitude components to tie it all together. And then you even have that Hungarian oak that really bridges the gap between some of those spots that were missing. It's really masterfully done. And that's the magic of great blending. Yeah, it's complicated as a blending process, but for the consumer, the end person enjoying the whiskey, just works. All right, let's get into the glass. So on the nose, I really get dried cherry, a little bit of fig. And for those of you that follow me, I don't really get into some really flowerful notes, but this one is giving me a lot of interesting notes, and for everyone, it's going to be deeply personal. But I get a little bit of dried fig, a little bit, or not dried fig, I get a little bit of fig and some dried cherry. I get a little bit of spice, a little maybe white pepper, and then some clove, baking spice as well. And then all of that is just overlaid with fruit. It is fruit and honey. It's maybe a little bit of nutmeg. It is a really, really strong nose. It's not something that's subtle. And I'm saying that in a good way, right? So there is so much to unpack in this nose. It's really enjoyable. Like I said, it gives you all of those nostalgic feelings of the wintertime. And I could smell this for days. Yeah, this nose is fantastic. And it does have a little bit of the classic whiskey. And that's probably coming from some of the new oak, some of those caramels and toffees, but they're really subtle. It's really more of a great balance of fruit and spice, and has some undertones of those classic whiskey flavor profiles from toffee and caramel and vanilla. But really, really, really phenomenal pour here. I think fig and cherry for me, and the baking spice are the star of the nose. So, all right, let's get into the palate. All right, this is where everything comes together. That spice is leading the way. That's that high rye backbone showing its presence. And it does it in a really, really nice way. But then you have that white port doing its thing. It's wrapping it in this lush fruit, dark berries, chocolate, some wine flavor profiles, all of it not being tannic or harsh, which is really, really nice. And it just comes together in a really sophisticated way while being delicate and easy to drink. So really, really masterfully done. It's got a lot of depth, and that mouthfeel is not light. It's quite enjoyable and not one-dimensional in any way. So it's tying all these things together. I kind of envision a battle between spice and fruit, but in the best way. Okay, now the finish. It's really long and evolving. I can definitely see the Hungarian oak showing up here. That spice carries through the entirety of the finish. You have some sweetness that lingers, and then the fruit like gently falls off. It's really, really masterfully done from a finish perspective. It's what I enjoy in a finish. And when I think of, when I first started the whiskey journey, I thought of a finish as kind of that burn, how long it lasted. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the flavor profiles that stick with you, that you can still taste. And it's interesting how they kind of fall off in consecutive order in a really nice way. So, I mean, from beginning to nose to end to finish, this is a perfect winter pour for me. And I'm really excited to kind of be digging into this with you all. But let me get into my final thoughts about the whole thing. And I want to be definitely honest with you that this was sent to me. So full transparency there. But Found North asks nothing of me. They don't tell me what to say. I think more than anything, they encourage honest reflection, honest feedback. And it's probably one of the reasons, it's one of the few whiskeys that I review so far, because I'm really impressed with how much they care about growing, how much they care about providing value to their consumer base. And this bottle, I think, is fantastic. It's if you don't like port finish, whiskeys, or you don't like ryes, maybe it won't be for you. It is a high rye, it's not a rye, so there's some balance there where you're not going to get into a lot of the herbal flavor profiles that maybe some find unenjoyable about ryes. So there may be some exploration here for those that are on the fence, and for those that don't like overly. I think it was Act 12 of Midwinter Night Dram just felt like a port bomb. Like, you don't get that at all. Like I said, this is not a replica. This is not trying to be Midwinter Night Dram. Although this bottle was sent to me, I am telling you, I definitely think this is a bottle that you should pay attention to. This is going to be mail list only, which is kind of awesome. So every bottle that they produce, if you're on their mailing list or on their subscription list, then you're going to have the ability to try and grab a bottle. So this won't be going to stores or retailers. But yeah, if you get on their subscription list, then you'll be the first to know when this bottle is going to release and go through whatever process they have. I don't have any information on pricing or anything right now, but I do know that it will be mailing list only. And for now, I'm just really happy this is in my lineup. And when that first snow hits and the fire's roaring, what will I be reaching for? It won't be Midwinter's Night Dram. All right, that's it for this one. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And if you haven't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like button, alarm. It really helps the channel and it lets you know when my next video releases. But with that, I will see you all on the next one. Peace.